What's going on YouTube? William A. Thomas here, and I just wanted to make a quick video. My man Kwame Brown has been on a tear. Now, in case you don't know who Kwame Brown is, or if you haven't been following what's been going on, Kwame Brown is a former NBA basketball player. He was actually drafted straight out of high school, #1 pick overall in the draft. There were a lot of expectations that come with that. You know, nowadays there's the one and done thing, or they have to go over to the G League, or it's the G League now. But being an 18-year-old kid coming straight out of high school to playing with the top 400 to 500 people in the world, that's huge. And at that time, the pressure was even worse because he was actually drafted by Michael Jordan, and there was a lot of pressure that came with that. If you've seen the Last Dance documentary, you know that being a teammate of Michael Jordan, it's not always the easiest thing. You know, if you're not in position to win immediately, you probably have to go. Jordan's a competitor. But in Kwame's case, this is an 18-year-old kid. Who could expect for an 18-year-old kid to come straight out and, you know, just win automatically? You know, we think of LeBron James. He definitely is one of the greatest, one of the top 5 all time. Even with him, I don't think the expectation was for him to take Cleveland straight to a championship and win. But I digress. Back to Kwame. Kwame has actually taken what would be by some called bullying, some verbal assault, for 20 years. 20 years, you haven't heard anything out of this man. Now, picture this. Picture that for 20 years, a group of people from your school were just talking about you. You know, from high school, 20 years ago. I'm 38. 20 years ago, I would have been 18. I guess I'm about the same age as Kwame. But imagine if people from back then were talking about me, and they kept on talking about me. There's a different kind of strength. There's either a strength in being able to control yourself or to remain even-tempered with it. But this was next level stuff. It wasn't just players, it was the media, Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, and more. And I remember that time when Jalen Rose had actually taken up for Kwame Brown. And he said something that's really specific and very key. How could a man that has played in the NBA 10 plus years, he played in the NBA for 12 years, made $65 million. How could that person be a bust? So what we have to look at is our expectations, or are we rolling with someone else's expectations? Because a lot of times the loudest person in the room is the person that can end up directing the narrative. You know, there's a difference between me saying I went to go drive over to a funeral, which I'm actually in the process of doing today, versus me saying I had to drive, I had to watch out for all these crazy drivers, and the cops were following me around trying to get me, and people kept tailgating me, and along the way one almost knocked me off the road. That's a narrative. So let's stick straight to the facts, because I agree that whenever I had, you know, I forgot what magazine it was. I remember there was a magazine, front page, Kwame Brown, tall, 7 foot. I did think and expect great things. But somewhere along the line, a lot of people's expectations were changed or manipulated based off of those who have the louder voice. And in this case, some of it would be the media, some of it would be former players. But whatever the case, 2021, this man came out exploding. He wanted all the smoke. I guess Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson on the All the Smoke podcast, they had a little bit to say about Kwame Brown, especially since they had a special guest, Gilbert Arenas, who was actually a former teammate of Kwame's. So, of course, the jokes, led on and went on as normal. It's been like that for 20 years. You've been doing it for 20 years. Why not keep it going? But this time, Kwame, he actually struck back. And a lot of people, they love to be able to see the underdog fight back. They love to be able to see the person that's been bullied to be able to punch the bully in the mouth. That's why we were drawn to the stories like Rocky, the Karate Kid, Three Ninjas, those type of things. Maybe not Three Ninjas, I don't know. Home Alone, that's a better one. But the bigger guy, the bully, the person who has more to power is getting punched in the mouth. And now, at this point, Kwame, he's actually going at the likes of Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, Charlamagne Tha God, whom, that's another situation. He ended up going into Charlamagne Tha God. I'm going to actually make a separate video about that, because he actually went personal. But these people who are, the loud voices, these people who control the narratives, these people who control what you may think on a day-to-day basis, those are the ones who have been talking about this man for 20 years. And I'm glad that he's fighting back. Much respect, Kwame Brown. Doing your thing. I definitely appreciate what he's doing, because what it shows is that little boys, whether little black boys or whatever it would be, you don't have to stay subject to what's going on around you. You have the ability to be able to rise up and say, I'm not going to take it anymore. And that's exactly what he did. Have you ever been in a situation where you've been bullied? Are you in a job that you're kind of tired of, and you know that you have bigger things that you could do? Are you in a situation, whether it's a relationship, and someone abusing you? Just think about these things. What are you going to do about it? My man got up and he gave him a little bit of taste of his mama's cooking, as Kwame Brown would say. And it's just amazing sitting there watching it, because not only is he is exposing a lot of what's going on, but that's one side of it. On the other side, he's showing that, hey, just because someone's quiet, just because someone's kind, don't actually mistake my kindness, my quietness for weakness. And that's the mistake that a lot of people make. So, hats off to you, Kwame. Keep on with your journey, and I wish you the best of success. Hey, before we actually go, Kwame Brown has already been successful. And what he's doing right now, he's actually continuing that mission. I mean, the man made over $60 million in his playing career. So let's not look past that. This is a situation that actually reflects a lot of what's going on in America. And it's a matter of, what are you going to do? You going to fight back? You can remain quiet also, because a lot of times the people who are remaining quiet, they're working behind the scenes. They're working on themselves. They're working on their bodies. They're working on their minds. They're working on their moves. Just because you don't actually see it what's going on doesn't mean that there's not anything going on. An 18-year-old kid who went through that type of abuse can end up having a whole different messed up disposition. And to see him to be so sharp, and he knows what he's doing, he knows what he's talking about. Kwame knows what he's talking about. This isn't no unhinged situation. This is calculated, because one of the things that the Titanic made as a mistake, and a lot of people make this mistake, you see, whenever there's an iceberg, what you see is only 10%. The other 90% is right under. So if you look at the potential or look at the things that you can't see, then you'll end up seeing that there's a lot in what a man or woman may be doing behind the scenes. So with that, that's some food for thought. I'll let you guys do the dishes.